This isn't even all of the books. I've gotten so many books that we're gonna have to split this up into 2 videos. This one, we're going to focus on books by Black authors that, at least for the most part, aren't American focused or that have non-American experiences. I have a mix of genres. I've got a little bit of poetry, general fiction, mystery, horror-y type stuff, nonfiction, and fantasy. So we've got a little bit of everything. Let's get into it. The first one we're gonna go through is modern Sudanese poetry. This I actually picked up for Blackathon because one of the prompts is to read something by a Sudanese author, and this was something that I was able to find. I like poetry. I wanted something kind of simple, easy, quick to get through, and this seemed like it would be a lot of fun to experience. Next up, we have a book that didn't come in the cover that I was expecting it to, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it is still nice. I just don't like this. But this is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare. I am probably going to butcher a lot of names. I'm terrible with names. I'm terrible with pronunciations. I apologize in advance, but I will try my best to not completely butcher stuff. But this one, our main character, who is the 3rd wife in a small Nigerian village. She's only 14 years old, and she is expected to just fade into the background, into silence, into almost nothingness. But she won't keep quiet. She's smart, funny, and curious, with an infectious, joyful spirit. And despite adversity awaiting her at every turn, she's set on getting an education no matter the cost. I love that. I love that. And so yeah, I've heard really good things about this. Even though I'm not a big general fiction person, this one seems like something that I can totally get behind. Next up, we have Wahala by Nikki May, and this is a friendship story. I believe it takes place in Nigeria, but I'm not 100% sure. We do have several friends, one of which is looking for her happily ever after, and she's hoping that her current Nigerian boyfriend is everything that she wished for and more, but all of her friends are like, nah, he's just like the rest of them. The second friend has everything that the first one wants, but isn't feeling super happy or fulfilled, and she feels super guilty about that. And the third one, everybody thinks got everything down packed. She's got a perfect life, but she suffers from imposter syndrome. She's not happy with her job, especially with her boss constantly making comments about her urban vibe, or the fact that her husband thinks that they're trying for a baby, but she's not, and she's struggling with that. And then the 3 of them end up meeting a new character who is charismatic, who seems to be bringing out the best in them. But as time goes on, more chaos ensues, and I'm assuming that each of them are going to have to face the facts of their current situations. I'm excited about it, but also nervous, because this is the kind of general fiction that scares me. But we'll see. I have heard very good things about the Nigerian fashion that it gets described in this book, which I am excited about that. Okay, then we have a oldie but goodie. I'm assuming this is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, and this one is the first in 3 novels that the author put together in a series called the African Trilogy. And the back here says it is a classic narrative about Africa's cataclysmic encounter with Europe as it establishes a colonial presence on the continent. It's told through the fictional experiences of Okonkowu, a wealthy and fearless Igbo warrior of Umufia in the late 1800s. And the book itself is exploring one man's futile resistance to the devaluing of his Igbo traditions by British political and religious forces. Yeah, so this one's gonna be a tough one. I've heard really good things about it, and I'm very interested in seeing the culture beforehand and the effects of, obviously, colonialism on this culture, because you get that a lot in a lot of stories, which is heartbreaking. Next up, we have Hurricane Summers by Asha Ashanti Bromafield, who is apparently an actress, I believe. An actress, a singer, producer, and the writer of Afro-Jamaican descent. And she's been in Riverdale and Lock and Key, which I haven't watched much, but I am Jamaican American, and so really excited about about reading things that have a little bit of Jamaican flavor. This one, we have a character who desperately wants her father's approval and love, but every 6 months he kind of pieces out and leaves them for his true home and love, the island of Jamaica. And one year her mother says she will also be spending the summer in Jamaica. She's not sure how she feels about it, but there's part of her curious to find what it is about the island that is constantly taking her father away from her. So yeah, tough topics, tough conversations, but I'm really excited to hear about Jamaican experiences, an outsider's perspective, hopefully an insider's perspective as well. We've got a lot to get through. I should go a lot faster. Okay, next up we have How Beautiful We Were by Mbolu Mbu. Okay, so this one is set in a fictional African village, and this is another story of a group of people who are afraid of a American oil company coming in and degrading their village and their lifestyles and things like that, and also just combating the destruction that this oil company is bringing to the land, hurting the farmland, poisoning the water, and just wreaking havoc on this village and these people. And it sounds like it is focusing on a specific family from this village and their experience in dealing with and overcoming what is happening to them. So yeah. Next up, we have another classic, Homegoing by Ya Gassi. This one, everybody talks about this. I'm really excited to give this one a shot. I've heard really good things about this. And this one is about two sisters who end up being split apart and having very different experiences. One being sold into slavery and the other one being the wife of a slave trader. And it talks about how their circumstances affects them and their families through several generations. And it sounds like this also takes place in multiple locations. It says from the Gold Coast of Africa to the plantations of Mississippi, from the missionary schools of Ghana to the dive bars of Harlem, spanning continents and generations. Big story, big conversation, new experiences. Okay, going into more historical nonfiction territory, I believe. First up, I have A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James. And this is talking about the experience that Bob Marley had when he was attacked in Jamaica. So it says, on December 3rd, 1976, 2 days before Bob Marley was to play the Smile Jamaica concert, 7 gunmen stormed his house. They wounded Marley, his wife, and his manager. Very little was officially released about the gunmen, but much has been whispered, gossiped, and sung in the streets of West Kingston. And this is a story exploring that situation by a writer who was born in Jamaica a few years before the incident had happened. And so yeah, I'm excited about this. Again, anything Jamaica related, boy is this a chunker. What a big floppy butt. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot, but I know it's going to take me some time for sure. Next up, we have one that I'm really excited about, and that is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. He is a late night TV show comedian, and this is talking about his childhood in South Africa, where interracial marriages and children born of interracial marriages were technically considered a crime, like it was illegal, and he is a child of an interracial marriage. And so it talks about his experiences. I've heard really good things. Apparently it's very funny, very lighthearted, and very easy to digest. I'm totally here for it. Next one I think might be horror-ish. I'm not 100% sure. And that is Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. This one says our main character has been unusual. Her parents prayed her into existence, but something must have gone wrong because their troubled child starts to develop separate selves and is prone to fits of anger. So this, I'm assuming we're going to get the experience of somebody who deals with DID, dissociated identity disorder. I may be saying that partially incorrect. As this character is growing up, a traumatic event ends up crystallizing these different selves. And so yeah, I don't know if this is actually going to be horror. It sounds like it's just going to be more of a literary fiction focusing on the experience of somebody who has these experiences and how the world treats them and things of that nature. I don't know, but I am very interested. I personally find DID to be fascinating and heartbreaking and interesting, and I would love to hear more from, you know, that perspective, and I really hope that this is done in a respectful way. So yeah, excited to give it a shot. Then we have Vagabonds, which is one of the group reads for Blackathon, which again, I'm participating this month, but this is Vagabonds by Elagahosa Usandi. She's very pretty. And this one, it says, in much of Nigeria, vagabonds are those whose existence is literally outlawed. Ooh, okay. The queer, the displaced, footloose, and rogue spirits. This book apparently focuses on a large group of characters whose life itself is a form of resistance. And it looks like we've got a little bit of realism, myth, and fantasy all within this book, and is a focus on these characters' experiences. And that sounds really exciting. I'm very interested in seeing where this book takes me. On to mystery, horror, and then fantasy. So for the mystery, The Bone Readers by Jacob Ross. This is a true crime style mystery, I believe, and it takes place in the Caribbean island of Camajo. And we have a character who is recruited into a plainclothes homicide squad and becomes obsessed with a cold case, which is focusing on the disappearance of a young man while also trying to pursue the murder of his mother, who was killed by a renegade police squad when he was a child. So it sounds like he's trying to investigate on the inside. He is skilled in forensics, and the latest recruit to his group is a mysterious yet observant detective, possibly, and they find themselves dragged into the world of dangerous secrets. And I'm assuming they're going to possibly find solace in each other while solving mysteries. I'm excited. Caribbean, fun times, mystery, sounds interesting. Hopefully I enjoy it. Okay, next up, this one was highly recommended, and that is Delicious Monsters by Leslie Sambury. I have read from this author before, really enjoyed her work, and am excited to give this one a shot. This character sees dead people, and as far as I'm aware, this takes place in Toronto, I'm assuming Canada, which is why it's on this list. And so our main character who sees ghosts is usually able to handle it until she experiences, I guess, emotional strain when her boyfriend dumps her. Her mother inherits a secluded mansion in Northern Ontario. So yeah, this is Canada. And this is a location that she spent a bunch of her childhood summers at. So she's excited for this escape, since I'm assuming she's having issues dealing with all of the ghosts around under the circumstances. But of course, when she gets there, she is facing more strain, more secrets, more things to uncover, and I'm assuming it's going to be a fun, interesting time. And so yes, this one is a chunker, and I'm super excited about it. Love ghosts. So I really want to see where this takes us. Now getting into the fantasy, we have Daughters of Nri by Reni K. Amayo. This one is focusing on the aftermath of a gruesome war which removed the gods, and the only remnants of the gods are within these two girls who happen to be twins that were separated at birth. These are two goddesses who grew up believing that they were human. It's a story of self-discovery as they try to find their way back. Very interested in seeing if it's my jam. Next up, we have a fantasy by a Jamaican American author, and I'm pretty sure it's got some Jamaican spice in it. We'll see. I'm very excited. This is So Let Them Bird by Camilla Cole. This is a new release. And this one, the little tagline says, she was blessed with a gift from the god, but what good is power if she can't save the person she loves most? Yeah, so it sounds a lot like in the past, she used her powers to liberate her island from the enemies, which is the dragon riding language empire, and now at 17 she's powered up with no wars to fight. She has to attend an international peace summit, and it doesn't go as expected. So yeah, really interested about this. This one, I'm a little bit afraid. I ended up adding this to the list before learning too much about it, which you may have guessed from some of these. This isn't the only one, but for this one, I recently heard some reviews that are a little scary, and that one is Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Another one from Marlon James. This one touches on some really dark topics, things that I'm not a big fan of, but I'm pretty sure is meant to take you through some tough experiences. I know it's a book that people either love or they hate, but even those that love it recognize that it is really tough to get through. Don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. We have our main character who is a tracker, known for his skills as a hunter. He is joining a party to try and find this kid. There is a shape-shifting man animal known as Leopard, along with just a general hodgepodge of people and unusual characters. It does sound like, from what I heard in the review, a good chunk of the book is the setup before we actually get into it. But yeah, I just hear it's really hard. So big warning, check the trigger warnings. I struggle with these specific things, so I don't know. Next up, we have That Self-Same Metal by Brittany N. Williams. This one I believe is very European. Our main character maintains the stage blades for William Shakespeare's acting company, using her magical ability to control metal. It sounds like this is a Fae-based story. So in here, her family is very aware of the Fae in London, and England's new king decides that he's not going to uphold a pact between, you know, their realm and the Fae realm, which leads to some brutal attacks that indicate the approach of a malevolent presence. So yeah, this, not what I was expecting, but I am pretty excited about that old-timey English experience. Next one is another new release, and that is Fae-bound by Sarah L. Arafi, another Fae-focused fantasy. This, as far as I'm aware, is the first in a series. I think it might be a trilogy. I'm pretty excited about it. You have a character who was born on the battlefield, lived on the battlefield, and one day she knew she'd die there. She's a warrior of an elven army, and she's known nothing but violence all her life. Her sister, on the other hand, is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. Unfortunately, a fatal mistake leads her into exile from the elven lands, and that means both sisters are forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. And through that, they encounter the impossible, the Fae court. So yeah, very interested. I love it. I'm here for it. I have multiple copies of this because I'm so excited. It was an accident, but I'm still so excited. And then we have The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. And this says it is Game of Thrones meets Gladiator, and it focuses on a world caught in an internal war where one young man will become his people's only hope for survival. I am excited to dive in and give it a shot. If you've read any of them, let me know in the comment section down below, and if you would want me to prioritize any of these in upcoming videos, let me know that as well. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye!